Well, welcome viewers, Dr. J.W. Ayub. The law that changed women's rights, the equality that changed everything. When safeguarding became the final question, every society eventually reaches the same test. Not how it treats people when everything is ordinary, but how it protects people when they are most vulnerable. And that's where every legal framework is ultimately measured. In this episode, I examine how safeguarding became the central issue for many biological women as debates over female-only spaces, sport, and other places move beyond identity and towards the purpose those boundaries were originally intended to serve. The conversation had changed. It was no longer simply about inclusion. It was no longer simply about recognition. For many biological women, it had become a question of safeguarding, where every female-only space had been created for a reason, a very specific reason, not to exclude, but to protect. Protection from vulnerability, protection from physical disadvantage, protection from trauma. Protection from circumstances where privacy and dignity mattered most. And as institutions implemented new legal obligations, many biological women believed those original purposes were violated. They were becoming secondary to new administrative priorities. The law had already determined the framework in 2013. Institutions were expected to apply it. The practical consequences unfolded one decision at a time, one day at a time, 1 month, 1 year at a time, and it escalated. One sporting policy, one school guideline, one workplace procedure, one hospital directive, one refuge policy, each appeared independent. Together they created a new environment. And for many women, the question became unavoidable. If safeguarding is no longer determined by biological sex alone, what principle now determines it? The confrontation was no longer with one organisation. It was with an established legal framework operating across Australian society. Some women accepted the changes, others challenged them quickly, and many continued asking the same question. Not who should be respected, but whether the protections historically built around biological female vulnerability remained sufficient under this framework, and they didn't. So the debate had reached its deepest point. Not identity, not language, safeguarding biological women. Viewers, every boundary is ultimately judged by one question, and that is, who does it protect when protection is needed most?